Thomas Tennis here, and today I want to talk about the trigger for a tennis stroke. What is the first forward move towards the ball? And the answer to that is your hip. Okay, it's a very important part of the stroke. So what you want to do is once you take your step, you're gonna trigger the shot with your hip. Your hip is going to drive forward, so you're going to be your hips are going to be parallel to the flight of the ball, and then as you start your forward stroke, they're going to become perpendicular to the flight of the ball. And then the next thing that will happen is your shoulder will drive forward, and then your arms will come forward and pronate. Your upper arms are going to rotate like that. So it's a 1, 2, 3 thing, but you want to make sure your trigger, the thing that starts your forward stroke, is your hip. Now when you do this, you want to make sure you don't have so much weight on your front foot that you're grinding your knee. So you can't put all your weight on your front foot like many people suggest. You want your weight to be pretty much shifted, but you want it to be light enough on your front foot so that you can rotate it. And when you put your foot down, it should be about a 45-degree angle to the flight of the ball. So you can get some rotation. So you want to make sure that you protect your knee when you do this. So you want to be more light on your feet than heavy on your front foot. You don't want to go like this and try to rotate, especially with a two-handed backhand. With a forehand, you're usually going to be pretty light on your feet, but with a two-handed backhand, a lot of people get their weight out here, then they swing, they try to rotate their hip and shoulders, and then boom, they're having surgery, like I did. When I first started playing, I would get my weight out front, rotate, boom. So cartilaginous surgery instantly. So make sure that when you do this, you can rotate on your front foot. And a lot of times you'll see professionals come off the ground. And the reason they do this a lot of times is because they're in a position where they're going to grind their knee. So by coming off the ground, you can get your hip forward. So if you trigger the shot, that's a great way to think about it. Trigger the shot. Hit the ball with your hip. Then comes your shoulder drive, and then comes your upper arms. So you'll wind up like this. So if you use your hip to hit the ball, you're going to find you're going to get a huge amount of noise off your racket, and you're going to get more power and spin. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate what I'm talking about here. Watch my left hip drive forward on my two-handed backhand here. So. Okay, here's Division I champ Jim Snyder hitting his great two-handed backhand. Notice how his left hip triggers the stroke and his upper arms make a perfect arc of the racket in front of his body. A lot of coaches try to eliminate the arm as a hitting mechanism, but it's really by far the most important. The hip is the trigger, the arm is the finisher. Jim makes his forward arc using his upper arms, not his hips and shoulders. Now, the same is true with the one-handed backhand and the forehand. Watch how these pros drive their hip forward and their shoulder, and then the upper arm rotates around, making a perfect arc. The term "use the big muscles" is too confusing, but the big muscles include the hip, the shoulder, and the upper arm. The same is true for a one-handed backhand. Watch how Roger uses his hip, then his shoulder, and then his upper arm.